Hi there. Thanks for watching this video. My name is Barkos. I'm Dr. Mkulise. I'm the marketing director of Promedical Primary Cooperative. I assume that you are watching this video as one of those people who are interested in knowing about Promedical, particularly at this stage, knowing about Promedical fundraising. Why are we fundraising? How are we going to do the fund? How are we doing this fundraising? And what are we going to do with the money that we're raising from colleagues? Perhaps let me give you a bit of a background about Promedical. Promedical was incorporated 2017 in terms of the Cooperatives Act 2005. Most of us who were in SMTP, or perhaps let me say some of us were in SMTP 2017, felt that there were quite a lot of things that were not going right in SMTP and they needed to be questioned. Particularly, we were demanding that we needed transparency and accountability from the SMTP leadership. Unfortunately, as you would probably know, that a lot of these organizations that claim to represent people or represent professionals, most of them, they end up being run by a clique of people with some stooges surrounding them. And then unfortunately, when you start questioning things, the leadership, usually, they are not very happy with you. And that would necessarily, obviously, at some point result in you who is questioning too much being kicked out of the organization. In our situation, we had a chat group which was organized by one of the guys that I'm not going to mention the name, he knows himself. And most of us were there, without even consent from us, but they lumped us there and we were all there as members of SMTP. However, we were very happy, to be in the same chat group. It was a large number of colleagues there. And that was the platform available for us to start exchanging information, ideas, and venting out our frustrations as well. However, it became unbearable, for the leadership of SMTP. And of course, with the help of their stooges, they closed down the chat group. And then when the chat group was closed, and then of course we were left frustrated. And then we had so many great ideas that we wanted to contribute to the SMTP to move the membership forward, because SMTP, basically, we realized that it was controlled by a clique, just a few individuals on top, surrounded by some people who are probably catching crumbs, from the leadership as they fall off the table. And when we came up with suggestions, for instance, such as forming a cooperative, because a cooperative is a more transparent structure. And the leadership, and with the help of their stooges, and they ended up actually closing the chat group as a result of that. There was no communication amongst ourselves as members, and also any communication between the members and SMTP. By the way, SMTP is run by one man. It's a one-man show. And there's never been an election of new leadership in SMTP. That's the culture. It's almost more like some form of a dictatorship, but I wouldn't like to call it like that. But yeah, president for life, something like that. The Museveni styles. Okay, anyway, that was just to give you a background, because sometimes maybe you will see that our cooperative, if you go to our chat group, you'll see SMTP cooperative, and you might think that we're actually linked to SMTP. No, we're not linked. We called ourselves SMTP cooperative because when we left SMTP, we were from SMTP, and we felt that it was like a name and the same name for us because we came from SMTP. Okay, if maybe you want to know more about that, there's quite a lot of information about SMTP, quite a lot of things that we're working on as members of SMTP, trying to take the leadership on. But at some point, we'll do that. We know where these guys are, where they are working. We know that they are sitting in various corporate structures where they are directors claiming to be clean, and we know they are not clean. We are going to deal with them when the time comes. For now, guys, please let me or you colleague, let me just take you through what the Promedical is all about, especially as we are fundraising. So I'll limit my discussion to the fundraising part, the SMTP part. I just thought that maybe let me just bring it up so that you are not confused, because there is a structure like that called SMTP. And probably when you see our chat group, one day you'll come across our chat group. If you happen to become a member, you shouldn't be surprised as to why SMTP. We call ourselves Promedical Primary Cooperative. We incorporated 2017, and we chose the cooperative structure because of the nature of cooperatives, how cooperatives are structured. Cooperatives are very transparent and accountable structures. They account directly to the members and shareholders of the cooperative. Cooperative takes, for instance, a form similar to that of a public company that is listed in the stock market, if maybe you are familiar about the companies that are listed, in that it is owned by its own members, which are the shareholders. So when you join a cooperative, you pay a membership fee, and that membership fee, a large portion of it is converted. I think about 90% of it is converted into shares. And then it makes you a shareholder of the cooperative. And then cooperative also operates on the principle of one man, one vote, meaning your vote as a person is not based on the number of shares that you own. It's based on a one man, one vote. So you have a voice even though you're a single individual. Whereas in a typical company or in a PTY, your vote will be related to the number of shares that you have. So you have got your vote is more powerful if you own more shares, whereas in the cooperative, that is not the case. 2017, we incorporated in terms of Cooperatives Act 2005. We then had to set ourselves some goals. In fact, we had objectives to say, what is it that we want to achieve? The reason for us coming up with the cooperative, it was after observing over time that the power that the doctors have has diminished over time, both in the public sector and the private sector. And also, we also observed over time that doctors were getting poorer and poorer. Because you would remember that, well, let's not blame the state that much. We know that the state doesn't pay much money. I mean, anybody working for the state, you will never tell that is earning enough. But if you want to earn enough, you usually go private and you start your own business. However, in our case as doctors, you would find that it's natural that when you qualify, you then go and set up either a GP practice, or if you're specialized, and then you would then work in private hospitals. And then we observed that these private hospitals, when you're working in these private hospitals are actually owned by a certain group of people. There are certain nations or nationalities that actually own, or maybe let's be a racial group, let me put it like that, race groups that own these hospitals. I've identified myself that generally you would find that some African families, some Jews, some Indians, and very few hospitals that are owned by Black. But what worried me quite a lot, that made me actually think of actually promoting the idea of forming a cooperative and to take on the healthcare industry, or perhaps to wrestle the power that these other players have in the healthcare space. What worried me a lot was that very few hospitals that are owned by doctors. And in my view, I thought that if hospitals could be owned and controlled by the doctors, at the end of the day, I think would get, the best, patients would get the best out of, best deal out of such hospitals. And I think the cost of health moving forward would even come down. There are reasons why I'm saying what I'm saying. Just to give you one, it would be, if you were to imagine, for instance, the people who own these hospitals these days, who are not medical doctors, that becomes their core business. It means without making decent profits, they would exit that business. So they are in that business because they're making decent profits. So the shareholders, they get the decent dividends. Whereas medical doctors, or let me say doctors in general, well, of course, that extends to healthcare workers, meaning your allied workers as well. They make their money, they feed from their own hands. It means they feed from their own profession. So when there's money made or profits made by the hospital, it's a bonus. So it means even if a hospital or a health facility is not generating that much money, but you would find that the health professionals are still very happy and probably flourishing, even though the hospital itself is probably just breaking even. So that's the difference between the idea of having hospitals owned by health workers and the hospital owned by businessmen. Business people, they're looking at the bottom line, whereas the health professionals, they're looking at the quality or the good outcomes out of the services that they are providing. So now I took the view that if I mobilize colleagues, which I did, I mobilized colleagues around the concept of saying, guys, let us put our little or limited resources together and start rolling out our own hospitals. And fortunately enough, colleagues really embraced the idea. The first actually colleague that actually joined was Dr. Rangaka, the psychiatrist. I always tell him that he is the first brick in building the cooperative. Then from there, we just grew from strength to strength, and we just saw the numbers swelling. And and I must say that today probably we are in the region of about almost about 300. I don't have the exact figure, but that's where we are. There are other members that you recruited that are not healthcare professionals, realizing that there are certain things that we do not know and other people know. For instance, people like attorneys. We have got some attorneys that are part of us. We have got some accountants, some auditors. We have got IT guys. So we have got a variety of people because we knew that there are certain things that we are not strong at. So we need those people who have got expertise in such areas. So now maybe let me just tell you what we have achieved so far, having started the cooperative 2017, because probably you might be interested to have an idea, what have we done? In joining the cooperative, people were contributing a small amount of money. The joining fee was 6,100. And out of that, a person would get 5,500 shares at R1 per share. And at that time, when we started, we didn't have a stipulated maximum number of people that would stop admitting at. So it was just open. We're just looking at the qualifications of a person in admitting a person as a member and a shareholder of the cooperative. And then, people were paying, some people paid more than that. I know, for instance, there's a lady who put down, as an investment, 100,000. And I know there's also another gentleman who put in about 50,000, and there are others who put in 20, but generally people were putting 6,100, and of which 600 rands would take care of things like the transaction costs, bank charges, payment of commission, because there's some of us, we run around, we tend to use our own resources, and they need a little bit of help in terms of commission. And commission is fair, and it's an industry standard, especially where there's a marketing and fundraising. So I'll just run down a few projects, actually maybe not few, projects that we've already tackled that are on the table. There are two main projects, and those two main projects are the projects for discussion on this video. However, I'll also run down just to mention the other projects that we have put together in the cooperative, just to show you that we have not been snoozing over the past couple of years. We have a medical insurance, a Promedical medical insurance that is underwritten by African Unity and is administered by Astiro. This is a kind of a product that I would say it's a common product that you come across these days. I can talk the whole day about it, but those people who cannot afford to go on a medical aid, the next option for them is a medical insurance. And these medical insurance products, they have been packaged in such a way that actually, one way or the other, they look exactly like a medical aid, except that they don't have the benefits that a typical medical aid would have. So we have such a product. It is a good product given the market that we're looking at, which I'm not going to describe. That's not the purpose of this video. I have other videos where I talk about this market. If maybe you want to know, you can just go to Promedical website, and then you go to our videos, and then you'll have access to all the videos where I talk about this kind of a market. And then besides the medical insurance, we also have a practice management software that we developed internally. It's fully owned. We don't owe a cent. We don't owe anybody a cent on it. It's owned by Promedical. It's a Promedical practice management software, and it's available for free to members of Promedical. And you would know that a lot of people pay an arm and a leg on these softwares. So in our situation, our members can enjoy having a software that the only thing that they pay for is, of course, a support, which is about 250 rands. I mean, that's nothing. And then for people who are not members of a Promedical primary cooperative, and then would charge them double of that. It's just to punish them for not being members of a cooperative. And then we have also a deal with Vox. Vox is a company that deals with internet. So we do internet installation where they supply the routers, we supply the routers, the extenders. So it's a very good relationship. The only thing that we need to do is just to market. We have got about 3 clients. In fact, we have got 1 client that we have done, residential, installing the internet. Then we also have 2 hospitals, our hospitals. That's where we're going to be also using Vox, especially because we're looking at bringing in the telemedicine in all the hospitals that we'll be working at. And of course, telemedicine needs a fast connection. And we are glad that at least if there's one thing that they got it right, these politicians, at least they got the fiber layout. They got it right. It came at the right time. That's what we need, especially for such technology. Promedical is also an official distributor of many medical equipment. You can mention anything, ranging from X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, laboratory equipment, anything, ultrasound. You know, you talk anything. That is medical. And we also occupy that space as well. Also, where we very strong, in fact, it's a new technology now that has come in that is taking on quite a number of people, especially those who are in the laboratory space. Lancet and Ampath and STEMPath and all those people. We are bringing in a point of care. We are official distributors of very reputable companies that are on the point of care. We also so if you want to know about this thing that I'm mentioning, don't waste time. Anytime you can give me a shout, send a WhatsApp. I'll always respond or send an email, and then we can talk about it. I'm just running down because that's not the purpose of this video. This video is about fundraising, but I just need you to give you an idea of what we have been doing since 2017. And then we also have a job-specific training academy that we have set up. In fact, it has been conceptualized, and currently, as I'm talking, we're busy with the registration. We have the tutors, we have all the experts who are going to be training people that are working for the cooperative. And then so that those people, after training, they can be placed in various areas within the cooperative. And you remember that one of the things that the cooperative or any cooperative in the world focuses on is that of development of its members and shareholders. Because cooperatives are different from companies. They tend to brew their own staff members. They train them, we train them, and place them. And the good thing is this job-specific training academy is registered. In fact, we are registered with labor as well as a labor broker. So we're not just a training academy that is just doing its own thing, and there are no unit standards. There's nothing. Everybody will be doing training there. We have the unit standards and all those qualifications that people will be getting there. Those certificates, they are recognized by the Department of Education. It's not something that you just do it at the back of your house and come back and give somebody something that is not recognized anywhere. And then we also have the financial services consulting company, fully registered. It is a subsidiary of Promedical Primary Cooperative. By the way, I didn't mention yet that Promedical went out its way to actually form a holding company and subsidiaries. But those are the things that you'll pick up as we go on. For now, it's just for me to run down the things that we have done and achieved so far. And then we were also involved as well, one of our subsidiaries in the bone tissue supply and harvesting. That's a new business that we have just got ourselves into, very exciting with great opportunities. We also have a very interesting app that we developed called the Dr. Find app. It's there on our website. Basically, that's where if you are looking for a pro-medical doctor, all you do, you just go and click and you'll find a doctor in your area or near that area. So that's basically good for patients, where the patients who are in a particular area looking for pro-medical doctors, and then they can just use the app to find one of us. Now, one of the things that we have done that is very close to my heart, this one, honestly, I must be honest with you that if you have time, just call me and we talk about it. Our IT department, our own IT department, is run by a smart guy, one of the top IT guys. that I've ever come across on planet Earth. That's Lieven van der. Yeah, he's originally from Belgium. And this guy, he actually put together a strong IT where we even managed, okay, besides doing our website and doing a Dr. Find app, all the apps, all the website, everything that we have on IT, it has been done by this man single-handedly. And in fact, he has taught me a lot, and I'm still learning even today. And I wish I could learn just a third of what he knows, and then I would be happy. So our IT department also developed our own cryptocurrency, our own wallet, that the cryptocurrency wallet, our own cryptocurrency exchange. And we've got our own cryptocurrency tokens. We have our own NFT. Now, why I'm telling you about this, you are going, I'm sure if you go to our website, you'll see them. It's because crypto, guys, whether you like it or you don't, crypto is here to stay. Crypto is a currency of today. Crypto is a currency of the future. The fiat currencies, your rands, your dollars, your Australian dollar, US dollar, renminbis, or Japanese yen, all those currencies are going to disappear. There is no more time, there's no more room for those currencies. The blockchain technology is taking over. Even our IDs, our driver's licenses, birth certificates, everything will be on the blockchain technology. Countries will be run on the basis of having developed blockchain technology. So if you are not starting today, if you don't start today to get used to the blockchain technology, understand the cryptocurrency, especially Ethereum. Ethereum is the internet of the future, whether you like it or not. If you don't do that, then you'll be like dinosaurs. The reason why dinosaurs died is because they failed to adapt. That's all. It's as simple as that. So, IT department developed a very interesting cryptocurrency for us. We have got two tokens, PMT and PRMED. And then, right now, the most exciting part is that we're also doing minting. Now, minting is simple. It means exactly minting. Like if you know, you go to the mint where they make money. Yeah, minting means making money. So basically, minting, it means we can make crypto. We can make our own cryptos, and also we can swap them for dollar, for dollar value. But I'm going to talk about minting when I talk about non-conventional investments, non-conventional investments. And then in that case, I don't like using the word investment, but because it has got legal implications. But we'll be talking about that. Most actually of the projects that I've mentioned to you guys, they are housed in various subsidiaries of Promedical holding company. Like I've already told you that we decided to take the corporate shape in terms of having a holding company and subsidiaries. The reason why we did that is because we observed over time that whenever we're engaging with the corporate world, the fact that we're just a cooperative, which is managed by a secretary, treasurer, and the chairperson, that didn't augur well with the various organizations. Hence, and also for the purposes of accountability and transparency and also compliance, because remember, once you start handling people's monies, then the issue of compliance comes in immediately. You cannot handle big monies, coming from investors and call what you are doing investment, or tell people to invest, And when you are not actually compliant with the certain bodies, for instance, in the case of money, you have to be compliant with FSCA, which is your Financial Services Conduct Authority. That's very, very important. If you don't do that, then you may end up in hot water, because one day the authorities will visit you and find out and ask you what is it that you're doing. And if they discover that you're actually taking money from the public and they're investing the money on behalf of the public and you're not compliant, you may actually end up in prison, or you may be told to stop what you're doing and then pay back all the money to the people that you have taken the money from. So that is why compliance is important. Okay, let me now talk about the two projects. I'll leave the rest. The two projects that I'm talking about is two hospitals. One hospital that needs to be funded, that is why we're raising money, is in Pinoni, and then the other one is at Sun City. Actually, it's 15 minutes away from Sun City. And it's called Mohwasi, or actually it's at Mohwasi. It's called LPH, Lesego Private Hospital. And then the one in Pinoni is situated at number 68 Howard Street. It's a day hospital. It's 4 floors. Actually, it's a ground, first, second, and third floor. This hospital has been operating for decades, and it was owned by, is still owned by one of our colleagues. And then, but I think it ran into trouble sometimes last year, and then we entered into negotiations that we were going to acquire 50% of the hospital, which is in line with our strategy, our investment strategy, because we, as a cooperative, from the beginning, we agreed that we will be looking at greenfields, where we start from scratch, or acquisitions, where we take a portion of the hospital. So we look at the business, and we're very flexible. We take anything that comes our way. And so in some instances, for instance, we just take a small percentage of shares, and then we add value, and then we move on. So in this case, we agreed with the owner that we are going to buy 50%, and then he's also going to buy 50%. And then we then agreed that we are going to have new companies registered, both for the property and for the operationals. And I'm not going to details about that, because there's a business plan that I'm going to post to your email. If you give me your email, and then you see the business plan, it will come with other documents, your Promedical membership documents, the documents, the escrow documents, legal documents like that. You have got the sale of shares agreements, and then you have got application forms. There are so many documents that you will see that I will send, and there's a constitution there, and then I will read, and also how to invest. So many things. But you, over and above that, you then will also get the business plan, so that you can see what is it that you are getting yourself into. So that's the Pinoni project. That's the day hospital. I've already mentioned that it's a 14 beds hospital with 2 theaters, and then we need 4.5 million to get the theaters to function optimally. There are certain things that when I tried to open that hospital so that we start operations, I realized that there were certain things that needed to be sorted out. Not major, but they needed attention, serious attention, and as soon as possible, if we want to have peace and have our patients safe in those theaters. I'm not going to run them down or mention them, because they are in the business plan. And then, but it's good just to mention that we need 4.5 million, when we worked it out, of course, with all the other costs and so on, it comes to actually 5 million. So we call this hospital, we have given it a new name. It's Promedical Karibu now. It used to be Karibu, Karibu Day Hospital, or they used to call it Karibu Day Clinic. Now it's called Promedical Karibu. And then two companies have been registered to that effect. And here we're raising 5 million. That's 5 million paid in capital. So it means that accommodates other costs, management costs and commissions and so forth. So we are encouraging every member or potential member or anybody interested to use of course, a person who qualifies to invest here. In this case, it will be a medical doctor, will be a doctor, whether a dentist or a physiotherapist or anybody, as long as you are a health worker, you can invest in this. Also, we also welcome our attorneys to invest in this, and our financial advisors or auditors. They are people that they already know what we are doing, who are part of us. These are the people that we're talking to that they can invest. And they put in 25,000 rands, and that would be the money that gives you 22,500 Promedical shares at R1 per share. So that's the starting point. And we are going to stop at 200 investors. We don't want to go beyond, because we want to maintain the good strength of the share. Otherwise, if we oversell or oversubscribe the shares, we might find ourselves in trouble where we have got shares that mean nothing. So now the way we do it, like I said before, is that when you put your money in Promedical. As soon as you receive your money, we'll then acknowledge receipt of your money, and then from there, but when you deposit money, you must send a proof of payment, and then there is a procedure that I will email. As it will come with the documents that I spoke about already. How you deposit, then after depositing the money into the account, then you receive a message from Promedical that says, we've received your money, and then that will be followed by the share certificate. And then we send you a share certificate electronically, and then it will also print the hard copy and put it in your file, because for every member and shareholder, and then we have a file. And then from there, your share certificate will be showing the number of shares that you have purchased. And then what then happens is that Promedical will move your money as soon as that is done, but you must also send us all the documents that you would have signed, the legal documents, your sale of share agreement, escrow agreement, all those documents must be sent, and they will go to your file. And then a Promedical will then send the money to UNAM asset managers. Those are the asset managers that we have a relationship with, a strong relationship with, who are managing our growth fund, Promedical growth fund, because that's our investment fund that we have registered, registered entity that is managed by asset managers. It has got a key individual, fully compliant, registered with FSCA. UNAM asset managers, they are also registered with FSCA. They have got a category 2 license. So the reason why I must emphasize this, that we felt that it was important to have asset managers. These are the people who are regulated. This is a highly regulated environment. Regulated just like probably even worse than HPCSA. HPCSA and Law Society, they are playing those people. When it comes to FSCA, those ones they regulate. They audit those companies to make sure that anybody who has put in his money there, every cent is accounted. Whatever they do, they can explain to FSCA. If they fail to explain, and then their license is gone. And here's the good thing, is that they always have an insurance. Should things go wrong, you have recourse. That is why you must never give people your money. I've heard that there are people who go around telling people to invest in ventures, in certain ventures, but those people are not compliant. They are not registered with the FSCA and they are handling your money. If things go wrong, how are you going to get your money? Well, if it's a small amount of money, less than 10,000 rands, maybe that's not bad. I mean, if you lose it, probably are prepared to lose it. But so I've had people putting in 100,000, 200,000 in entities that are not regulated. And guys, please, my advice is that don't do it like that. You will burn your fingers. You rather look for entities that are regulated, and yet they still give very good returns. But that's again another area. I would like to dwell much on that one, because then I'm getting into the financial advising itself. So I've mentioned quite a lot of things. Oh yes, the target, guys. We are targeting October as the month where we'll open the hospital to start the operations. The good things, we don't have problems with patients, because that's one thing that I've seen that many hospitals battle with. They battle with patients. And we find that the theaters are idling, and then there are no patients. But we don't have that problem as Promedical. And the reason is simple. It's because we are highly networked. We have got a strong GP network that is actually working with us. In fact, they are members of the cooperative. You go to Tsakane, Davidson, go around, they will tell you that Promedical is the thing of the day. And we have got a very good client, road accident fund. Of course, right now there are issues of terrorists, but that will be overcome. WCA, we're doing well with WCA, there are no issues. Our main issue is the medical aids, but we're taking those ones head on. The only way to take medical aids head on, and I've already explained it in other videos, and maybe I'll do a special video for it, maybe to take you through it, is to deal with directly with the employer. And we are working on that one. But at least we do have something now that we can give the employer a medical insurance. But my plan now is that we need to strengthen the relationship with the employer, especially now that we have got two hospitals. We have got the acute hospital in Sun City, and we also have the day hospital here. Then the employer can actually pay Promedical directly, especially the fact that we also have an asset management company. So at least the employer is not going to be nervous that if I pay these guys, every month, huge premiums, and then they may take a plane and go to Brazil the following day. No. So at least my thinking, and I'm positive about this, is that in the near future, very soon, we will be actually taking the employer directly. And that's how we're going to compete with these medical aids. They are too expensive. They are too expensive, and people don't need medical aids. People need doctors. People need hospitals. So if we have got the hospitals and we are doctors, and then there's no reason why people should be worried about medical aids. We're here. And then the other thing is, we also introduced something very interesting, what we call credit health. Credit health, it means you can just have credit for health. That's it. And then we have got the systems. We have negotiated with SwitchPay, and then they have given us all the systems. I've signed it off, and then it's active. So if a patient is sick and then it comes to one of our facilities, we give the patient a terminal. You swipe your card, and then if you don't have money in your card, and then you apply for credit there and there. And then you get the service, and then you pay small every month. You want to pay over 1 year or 2 years, it's up to you. So if people can pay for Brattles, I mean, buying a furniture from Brattles, and then why a person cannot take a loan to pay for his health? I mean, you can take 30,000. Actually, the loans, they go up to 300,000. And then you take that loan and that's it. And then the person is sorted out and the doctor is sorted out, the hospital is sorted out. So basically, that's another thing that we've managed to crack. So guys, yeah, and then in terms of risk, oh boy, any business has got its inherent risk. But if you look at this business that we are in, if you are a healthcare professional and you are in a business of health, I can tell you right now, the risk is very minimal. It's so minimal that it almost does not exist. Okay, but you must never say the risk does not exist in a business. In terms of your money that you put in, come on. This is a structure that is well organized. Your money is managed by asset managers. And then you have got a hospital that you can see, you can touch and feel. It's not like putting your money in something that you have never seen before, that you don't even have an idea about. Here, you are putting your money in an industry or in a business that you know very well. The people who are managing your money are registered with FSCA. You can check them at FSCA. They get audited. If you have got something that you suspect that these guys are not doing it right, you approach FSCA, they will go for their next immediately. And they were here as well ourselves, we're not snoozing, we'll always see things before they happen. So this is a safe environment, highly regulated environment. In fact, if I were you, if I was, I mean, anyone, starting to hear this, I would be so excited that at least I'm going to put my money in a business that I understand, not put your money in a business that you don't know how it works. I've had people, for instance, putting money in very strange business. I mean, I met some people, colleagues, telling me that they've put in money. Somebody said it's going to teach them how to trade. And then they paid for the training and then they're going to trade. Trading is not for everybody. Trading is not for everybody. You lose money in trading. I know colleagues who are trading, but they'll never tell you. You don't make a dime there. You just bleed money. That thing, there are people who are meant for it. And if you are doing it part-time, forget. Trading, you have got to do it full-time if you want to master trading. And it's for certain people. Well, some people, they go and put their money in the mining projects, whatever. I bent my fingers, to be honest with you. I tried that, I bent my fingers. I was in the diamond mining. But anyway, guys, let me not waste time talking too much, because then I'll end up saying things that are irrelevant. Okay, in terms of our funding, guys, there are two ways. I mean, two projects that, but I've spoken about the Karibu, Promedical Karibu. That's the one I want us to focus on. Now, I want to focus on this one because it's split in two phases. The first phase I've discussed. I've described the first phase, which is where to revamp the theaters. Phase two. Okay, to revamp the theaters, we have agreed. That one we're raising 5 million. Then when it comes to phase two, that's where now we'll be looking at casualty, because the casualty is going to run 24 hours. In fact, the casualty is ready to run 24 hours now. The only thing that I'm not happy with is that the resuscitation equipment, proper resuscitation equipment is not there. But you can get away with murder, but I'm not very happy. But at least you can do. Fortunately enough, we do have emergency medical services, and we've got 3 ambulances. So if maybe for one reason or the other, someone brings a patient, or a patient is unstable, or maybe it's a bit of a patient that you can handle there, you can always transfer out. That's not an issue. We have got the emergency vehicles, 3 of them, and we don't owe a cent. So those floors, the 3 floors, first floor, we're going to put a casualty running 24 hours. That's where also the consulting rooms for surgeons will be, for people to follow up their patients. And then second floor, we're going to have radiology, full blown. We're going to have x-rays, CT scan, MRI. And then that's where the other wing, because there are 2 wings. One wing is radiology, the other wing, that's where allied health will be, your physios, occupational therapy, and so forth. And then that would be good, because we do a lot of medical legal assessments as well, especially for road accident fund, and when we're on the side of the plaintiff, most of us. And then also we'll be doing the insurance companies, assessment of claims, for instance, where people are claiming, maybe a person is claiming for an injury, or an illness, and then insurance companies, they would send that person to us. Basically, we'll be having an assessment center there. We already have clients waiting to jump in. And then, that's a second floor, all right? And then third floor, we're going to have the laboratory services. And then we're also going to have on the other wing, because there are 2 wings. And then we're going to also have renal dialysis. Okay. And then we also have enough space, very big space for clinical trials, which is something very close to my heart. And I know a lot of people, they love them. And we've got many companies that are ready to jump in. But the main thing about this hospital, to be honest with you, we also have an oncologist as well, because we'll be also having oncology patients coming in there to see our oncologist. So with renal oncology, but the main thing, and the laboratories, but the main thing, guys, for us is that that place, it should be a diagnostic center. The trend these days, or what is important these days, is that when a person has got a problem, the main thing is that within 48 hours, at least, you should have a diagnosis. And then, of course, those that take longer, at least you should be, in not a long space of time. You should have a diagnosis. Gone are the days when patients would go and sleep in a hospital, and you start running a workup for days before you know what's wrong with the patient. No, these days, diagnosis is very important, quickly, and then make a decision. Where is the patient going to be operated, period? Or if a patient needs operation. If there is other conditions, then of course there are other centers where the patient can go. But what we are saying is that we want a Promedical Karibu to be a diagnostic center. And then everybody working there is a member of Promedical, is a shareholder. Right up to the cleaner, by the way, because everybody who's going to work there will have been trained via our academy, and they join the cooperative and become a member of the cooperative and a shareholder of the cooperative, and then also be our employee. So for the Promedical Karibu, I think it's enough information. And then I've explained to you that there will be phase 1, and then there will be phase 2. Phase 2 is going to set us back by about 50 million. Now I'm talking facelift, of the hospital, the signage outside, renovations of the walls, doing the roofs, sealing the roofs, painting, equipment. Fortunately, it's good because we know how to source equipment from reliable affordable sources. So we want to own the equipment. We're going to own the equipment, service the equipment. We want a health professional to walk in there with his stethoscope and start working. And then so that's what we're looking at. We'll come back after finishing phase one. We'll come back again to raise the 50 million for the phase two. But here's good news. UNAM asset managers promised us to say, look, for every R1 that we're going to put in for them to manage, to grow our money, because when they manage, they grow the money. And I forgot to tell you that they're promising us at least not less than 12%. It can be more, but I mean, they can't promise more. I mean, in terms of returns, 12% per annum. And they are going to match us 1 to 1, meaning for every R1 that we put down in the account of UNAM asset managers, and then they will put a R1. They are doing that because they know that they will, in any case, grow our money. I like that because then that tells you that they know their game. There is a PowerPoint that I've sent that talks about UNAM's investment strategy and the choices of vehicles that they invest in. But if I were just to run down quickly, they invest in purchase orders, your government purchase orders, and corporate, and then but mainly they have got a very powerful purchase orders that they do for a national client, a client that has got a national footprint, and NHLS, and then and others, and then they also going to be investing in our hospitals, putting money in our hospitals. Because they see that as an opportunity, but they're looking at about allocating 10% for that. And then they also looking at the debtors books, doctors' debtors books, mainly the specialists. So very interesting. So that sort of, it really sets us free, guys, financially. Now that we have got a strong partner that we can venture with in all the big ventures that we're looking at. So yeah, I think I've covered quite a lot. I've covered. I didn't cover everything though, but should there be something that maybe I didn't mention? Please don't hesitate. I just don't want to make this video too long. And then for the other project, LPH. And also non-conventional. Remember, with the funding strategies that I've just described one now, which is a conventional strategy, where we're going for highly regulated structure, such as UNAM asset managers. And then I only dealt with Promedical Karibu. I dealt with phase one and phase two. So I don't want to say too much now, otherwise I'll create a confusion. So I want to stop here. And perhaps, yeah, if there's anything that I didn't mention, or maybe you want to know, please, you can just call me or send me a WhatsApp, and with your permission, and then I'll also add you on our Telegram group. That's where we can exchange information, suggestions, and all those things. And also visit our website, Telegram group. What else? Yeah. Send an email. I'm also easy. And then I'm available to meet as well. So anytime you want to meet me, you know, whether via Zoom or physical meeting, I'm also okay. With that being said, I think I can safely end this meeting here. And please give me a feedback. And if you think I confused you or you think everything was clear, let me know. I would really appreciate that. Okay. Thanks very much. And we'll see each other.